the classic razor of the classic period, whether it's Philharmonica, whether it's Palmera, whether it's, in this case, very rare Iberia, I'm pretty much certain that they're the same quality of steel. So anyway, that's I'm going to call that a day on the on my lovely 8K, which is to say a superb stone. Put that here to dry. Let's go straight on to my favourite 10K. This is a nanoir, not a nanoir. The last one's a nanoir. This one is a little bit unusual. It's a nanohone. It's American. What I like about it, although it's a thin stone, it's got a massively strong aluminium backing plate to it. So you're never going to be afraid, not that you drop stones, but if you were to drop this stone, I'm damn sure it wouldn't break. I've heard horror stories about people dropping their beloved stones and the result is catastrophe. Just flattening this 10K off. Do you know, I'm so confident of this stone progression that I'm not even going to bother putting it under a loupe or a microscope. I've done enough of these to know you don't need to. If there was a nick or any corrosion, then that would be a totally different story. Nicks and corrosion, you have to use a scope, otherwise you don't know what you're doing. But for just gauging the scratch pattern, the striations, I don't really think you need to on what is a perfect factory edge. So let's do a few very gentle strokes. Just tighten it up a bit. There you go. A few gentle strokes. There's a little bit of slurry, as you can see. I think if you start with slurry, and then after you've done what you deem to be sufficient, which in this case on a 10K isn't going to be that many, then what I tend to do is forget the slurry, put a bit more water on, and then just purely concentrate on the last few strokes with plain running water or just the water on the surface. Because when you're going from 8K to 10K, that's a very small change. So I'm assuming I'm always doing the same pattern of stroke, because I do give it a little bit of a sideways twist, but I would rather think that that's probably enough on the slurry. Let's wash the slurry off and go purely water. That's a lovely flat finish now. Let's just do a few strokes on water. The reason for not bothering with too many weird sideways strokes or spinal leading strokes, I think the theory is quite correct. With many great YouTubers have said this as well, Devon Jackson being one, is to alternate your stroke pattern. Now, one of the theories is if you keep doing edge leading, you can actually build up on the edge a plateau. But personally, I think that's a very slight chance and not really worth bothering with. Traditionally, whether it's a knife or whether it's a razor, I still think it's better to go edge leading. I don't subscribe to doing too many weird things when you've already got a very perfect edge on a very perfect razor. So I reckon that is enough. Wash off the 10K. You notice there's no slurry, there's no residual metal, so there's no swarf left. So I think now, ta-da, we can go on to this 12K nanoir, which personally don't think is a great stone. A lot of people swear by it, I just swear at it. It's very, very hard but I do need, at least I think I need, something which bridges the gap between your 10Ks and the very, very, very high resolution grits. The 20K CEFIRO is obviously an extraordinarily high grit, but does give an impeccable edge, and I find it's still the best synthetic stone you can get. The only thing is, although it's a lovely big thick stone and a wide stone, it's ferociously expensive. But if you got deeply into this, and I thought, well, I've spent a lot of money on razors, I rather think it's foolish not to spend a similar amount on stones. Anyway, this is the 12K, a little bit of slurry. Now that is only 10 strokes, that's all. But that's 10 strokes with slurry. Let's just do a few more pure water. That's now completely clear. It's just got a very thin film of water on it. So that's another 10 strokes with water. Now that's more than I would normally do. A lot of people recommend only 12 strokes on a 12K stone. I don't quite understand that. I mean, 12 strokes hard or 12 strokes light is going to make a huge amount of difference. And I think modestly medium stroke. Anyway, piece de resistance. Here's the big bad boy of the block. This is the CEFIRO, which is so bloody expensive. It comes with a beautiful own rubber case at the bottom. It comes with its own cleaning stone, which I've never used. But this is the 200. So she's 20,000 grit, and I have to say, probably worth every penny. Various people have commented kindly on a few of the posts that I put on some of the groups that since they found the CEFIRO 20K, they don't actually bother putting any more posts up on the sites because they've found perfection. I wouldn't go that far. I would say the steel matters just as much, in my opinion, as the grit on the stone. The other thing is always very carefully wash off your diamond plate. This is a 400 diamond plate. You don't want any contamination at all on your finer stones. So what you don't want is to find little drops, I don't know, of 5K or 8K finding its way onto a 20K stone. That would be disastrous. So I'm not going to do a huge amount of work on flattening this 20K for the simple reason I know it's flat. I only used it a couple of days ago. So, you know, the amount of strokes that I put on isn't enough. But you can see I'm rubbing pretty hard and it's having very, very little effect. This is an enormously hard stone. I have no argument against any form of natural stone. I think the big thing with natural stones is they're quicker. If you know what you're doing, if you're using the right slurry stone and you're doing it right, yeah, very, very good results. With certain modern steels, if they become super, super uncomfortably harsh, I've had a couple which have been so harsh. If you put them on a Japanese natural stone, it actually has the effect of giving it that lovely sandblasted edge. If you look under a loupe or a microscope, you can actually see that the edge looks just like it's been under a sandblaster, and that hazy edge seems to quieten and calm down the final bevel and the final sharpness. I don't know, as I say, it's a difficult one to really comment on. I do know that the best shaves I've ever had have always come off a synthetic stone, and it's always been off this stone. So I'm going to call that enough. So that has been flattened sufficiently, I think. We have a little bit of slurry, so I should do a few strokes with the slurry on this Rolls Royce of synthetic stones. I'm still not convinced that my progression is perfection. To go from 12k to 20k, even though I was very cautious and putting it underwater and doing it very lightly, I've got a feeling that I'm probably jumping a little bit. But to be honest with you, 500 odd quid, which is what it would cost to have a 15k and a 20k, is quite a lot of money. The only thing I would say is, of course, looked after, these stones will last not only your lifetime, they'll last your grandchildren's lifetimes as well. And that's the one thing about shaving. It's got to be done, unless you want to look like a little beardy boy, little beardy beatnik, which it's all right, it's fine, because even beards need to be very accurately trimmed. And the only way to get the trim line on a beard is with a straight razor. There isn't any other way to do it properly. And the accuracy and the finesse of a straight razor is just unbelievable. My favourite job, which I haven't done a video of because it's boring, I don't want to keep on about this, is when you're trimming after you've had even a BBS shave, you know, absolutely baby bum smooth shave, you still find the occasional little annoying odd patch of stubble. And with a straight razor, particularly one with a square nose, you can do a marvellous job of trimming. You can literally surgically remove an individual piece of hair and you don't even feel yourself doing it. I spent a lifetime shaving with the usual bloody awful disposables. They're very good. You can't jump into a shower without a mirror and really do a successful shave with a straight razor. I'm sure some can, I can't. So I would say, as far as that goes, yeah, if you're in a desperate hurry and you want to get out, jump in the shower, use a disposable single blade razor, bonk, job's done. But if you want to get that incredible feeling of smooth luxury, that feeling which only a straight razor user knows, you've finished your shave, you've put a little bit of whatever on your face, aftershave if you need it, and then you're sitting down, I don't know, having a cup of coffee, whatever, and you rub your hand, you rub your fingers over your face. The feeling is indescribable. I don't think anybody could actually describe it any better than to say it's complete and utter luxury. It's a very sensuous feeling, and for me it's brilliant. Anyway, do you know, I think we're done. That's the last few strokes, very light. This is literally just the weight of the blade on the stone. There's no swarf whatsoever. It's just picking up the water, it's piling the water above the edge of the blade, it's giving it just that little final polish. So I would say we've probably done 20, maybe 30 laps, and that should be enough. Anyway, gents, there you have it. One refreshed top end razor. This is, as I said to you before, this is an IBERIA14 CEFIRO, and rare as rocking horse shit, and twice as good a quality. You can't easily go out and buy yourself a brand new Lamborghini or a brand new Rolls Royce, but you can have the world's best razors. So for me, it's not just owning the most perfect razor, knowing how to use it, then knowing how to hone it at its very best is certainly an experience that most people will never experience. To those of us that do, strength to our elbows. Anyway, peace, over and out, see you soon.